You don't need another year. You don't need another Monday. You don't need the perfect moment. The life you've been waiting for will never begin until you make one decision to stop waiting. Today, I'll show you why your future isn't created by one big breakthrough, but by the choice you make in this very moment to change the direction of your life. The moment your life begins to change is the moment you stop waiting for someone else to change it for you. Many people spend years believing that better circumstances, better opportunities, better relationships, or better luck will eventually transform their lives. They hope that one day everything will suddenly fall into place. But hope without responsibility creates dependency, and dependency keeps you waiting. The truth is that lasting change begins the instant you decide to take full responsibility for your life. That decision is powerful because it shifts your focus away from what you cannot control and toward what you can influence every single day. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything that has happened. Life is often unfair. People disappoint you. Unexpected setbacks occur. Circumstances arise that you never asked for and could never have predicted. Responsibility is not about accepting fault for every event. It is about accepting ownership of your response. You may not control what happened yesterday, but you always have a choice about what you do today. That choice is where your power lies. One of the biggest obstacles to personal growth is the habit of making excuses. Excuses often sound reasonable because they contain pieces of truth. You may not have had the same opportunities as someone else. You may have experienced failure, rejection, financial struggles, or personal loss. Those experiences are real, but if they become permanent explanations for why you cannot move forward, they quietly become prisons. Every excuse shifts responsibility away from your own decisions and places it somewhere else. The more excuses you make, the less control you believe you have over your future. Leaders think differently. They ask themselves one simple question whenever they face difficulty. What can I do next? Instead of spending hours complaining about circumstances, they search for solutions. They understand that even when their options are limited, they still have choices. They can learn a new skill. They can improve their attitude. They can strengthen their discipline. They can ask for help, adjust their strategy, or begin again. Progress always starts with focusing on what is still possible instead of becoming consumed by what is no longer available. Responsibility also means becoming honest with yourself. Personal growth requires the courage to acknowledge habits, attitudes, and decisions that are holding you back. It is easy to blame outside forces because doing so protects your ego. It is much harder to admit that some of your biggest obstacles may come from your own patterns of thinking. Honest self-reflection is uncomfortable, but it creates freedom because you cannot change what you refuse to recognize. Another important truth is that responsibility creates confidence. Every time you solve a problem instead of avoiding it, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Every difficult decision you make strengthens your belief that you can handle future challenges. Confidence is not built by waiting for life to become easier. It is built by repeatedly taking ownership even when situations are difficult. Every act of responsibility becomes evidence that you are stronger than your circumstances. Taking responsibility also changes the language you use. Instead of saying, I have to, you begin saying, I choose to. Instead of saying, I can't because, you begin asking, how can I? These small changes in language reshape your mindset because words influence the way you see yourself. A person who believes they have choices naturally looks for opportunities. A person who believes they have no control naturally looks for excuses. Your future is built through the decisions you make today, not the promises you make about tomorrow. Waiting for perfect conditions only delays the life you want to create. Every meaningful transformation begins with one decision to accept ownership of your habits, your attitude, your actions, and your direction. No one else can exercise for you, learn for you, think for you, or pursue your dreams for you. Those responsibilities belong to you alone, and while that truth may seem challenging at first, it is also incredibly liberating because the moment you accept full responsibility for your life, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and begin becoming the architect of your future, making choices that gradually transform your character, your confidence, your relationships, and ultimately the life you are capable of creating. Many people dream about changing their lives, but very few are willing to change the habits that create their current reality. They become obsessed with achieving big results while ignoring the small, daily behaviors that make those results possible. They want greater success, stronger relationships, better health, and more confidence, yet they continue repeating the same routines that have kept them in the same place for years. Real transformation does not begin with dramatic breakthroughs. It begins with small habits practiced consistently. If you truly want to change your life starting today, you must first change the things you repeatedly do every day. Your habits quietly shape your future, whether you notice them or not. Every action you repeat becomes easier over time because your brain is designed to create patterns. This is why both positive and negative habits become automatic. If you constantly procrastinate, your brain becomes comfortable delaying important work. If you exercise regularly, your body and mind gradually expect movement as part of your daily routine. The same principle applies to every area of life. Your future is not determined by what you do once in a while. It is determined by what you consistently repeat. Many people underestimate the power of small improvements because they expect immediate results. They begin reading, exercising, saving money, or learning new skills. But after a few days, they become discouraged because their lives do not look dramatically different. What they fail to realize is that habits work like compound interest. Their greatest power is not visible in the beginning. Tiny improvements made every day may seem insignificant, but over weeks, months, and years they create extraordinary change. The smallest daily discipline often produces the biggest long-term reward. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to change everything at once. They create unrealistic plans, believing that massive effort will produce instant success. They decide to wake up hours earlier, completely change their diet, read several books a week, work longer hours, and eliminate every bad habit overnight. While their enthusiasm is admirable, this approach rarely lasts because it depends more on emotion than discipline. Lasting change is built through sustainable habits that can be repeated consistently even on difficult days. Another important truth is that every habit reflects an identity. Before you become successful, healthy, disciplined, or confident, you must begin seeing yourself as the kind of person who naturally behaves that way. Someone who believes they are disciplined will make different choices than someone who constantly tells themselves they lack self-control. Your actions always follow your identity. If you want different results, begin by changing the way you see yourself. Every positive habit becomes a vote for the person you are becoming. Your environment also influences your habits more than you may realize. If your surroundings constantly encourage distraction, unhealthy choices, or negative thinking, maintaining positive habits becomes much harder. Successful people intentionally create environments that support the behaviors they want to develop. They keep books within reach, remove unnecessary distractions, spend time with people who inspire growth, and organize their surroundings to make good choices easier than bad ones. Your environment quietly shapes your behavior every day. Consistency matters far more than intensity. Many people work incredibly hard for a short period and then completely stop. Leaders understand that steady progress always beats occasional bursts of motivation. Even on days when energy is low, they continue taking small steps because they understand that momentum is created through consistency, not perfection. Missing one day is not what destroys progress. Quitting altogether is. Another valuable lesson is learning to celebrate small victories. People often overlook progress because they are focused only on the final destination. Every healthy meal, every workout, every chapter read, every difficult conversation completed, and every promise you keep to yourself deserves recognition. These small wins build confidence because they remind you that change is already happening. Confidence grows when you consistently prove to yourself that your actions match your intentions. Changing your life does not require waiting for the perfect opportunity or a dramatic turning point. It begins with simple decisions, repeated until they become part of who you are. Every habit you build either moves you closer to the future you want or keeps you connected to the life you are trying to leave behind. The choice you make today may seem small, but repeated consistently, it becomes the foundation of a completely different future, shaping your character, strengthening your discipline, expanding your confidence, and proving that extraordinary lives are not created by extraordinary moments alone, but by ordinary habits practiced with extraordinary consistency. Fear and excuses are two of the greatest obstacles standing between you and the life you want to create. They often work together so quietly that you do not even realize they are controlling your decisions. Fear tells you that you are not ready, and excuses provide reasons why you should wait. Together they create the illusion that staying where you are is safer than moving forward. The problem is that nothing changes while you remain trapped in that cycle. If you truly want to change your life starting today, you must learn to break free from both fear and excuses because they will never disappear on their own. Fear is a natural part of being human. Every person experiences uncertainty before making an important decision. Whether it is starting a business, changing careers, speaking in front of an audience, asking someone for an opportunity, or pursuing a lifelong dream, fear will always appear. The difference between people who grow and people who remain stuck is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite it. Courage has never meant feeling fearless. Courage means refusing to let fear become the author of your future. One of the reasons fear feels so powerful is because your mind is designed to protect you. It constantly searches for possible dangers and worst-case scenarios. While this instinct once helped human beings survive physical threats, today it often reacts to emotional discomfort in exactly the same way. Your brain treats rejection, criticism, failure, and uncertainty as if they are life-threatening events. It convinces you that avoiding discomfort is the safest choice, even when avoiding it keeps you from becoming the person you want to be. Excuses usually sound convincing because they contain pieces of truth. You might tell yourself that you are too busy, too old, too young, too inexperienced, or that the timing is not right. Perhaps you believe you need more money, more confidence, or more knowledge before you can begin. While some of these challenges may be real, they become dangerous when they are used as permanent reasons to avoid action. Every excuse delays your progress and quietly teaches your mind that waiting is more comfortable than growing. Another important truth is that fear often becomes smaller once you face it. Before taking action, your imagination creates countless negative possibilities. After taking action, you begin dealing with reality instead of assumptions. Many situations that once seemed terrifying become manageable because experience replaces imagination. The conversation you feared often goes better than expected. The challenge you avoided becomes an opportunity to learn. The risk you delayed becomes the beginning of something meaningful. Action exposes how often fear exaggerates reality. Successful people do not have fewer fears than everyone else. They simply refuse to negotiate with them. They understand that if they wait until they feel completely ready, they may spend their entire lives waiting. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" they ask, "What if this changes my life?" They understand that every opportunity carries uncertainty, but every opportunity also carries possibility. Focusing only on risk prevents you from seeing the rewards that may exist on the other side of courage. Breaking free from excuses also requires radical honesty. There comes a moment when you must stop asking why life has been difficult and begin asking what you are willing to do about it. This question changes everything because it shifts your attention away from problems and towards solutions. It reminds you that while you cannot control every circumstance, you always control your response. Every positive step begins with accepting responsibility instead of searching for another reason to delay. It is also important to remember that growth always feels uncomfortable in the beginning. Every new skill feels awkward before it becomes natural. Every successful person was once inexperienced. Every confident speaker was once nervous. Every accomplished leader once questioned themselves. Discomfort is not proof that you are failing. It is often proof that you are stretching beyond the limits of your previous experience. The life you want exists beyond your current comfort zone, and reaching it requires accepting temporary discomfort as the price of long-term transformation. The moment you stop allowing fear to control your decisions and excuses to justify your inaction, you begin reclaiming your future. Every courageous decision strengthens your confidence. Every excuse you refuse to believe weakens the habits that have held you back for years. With each step forward, you prove to yourself that your potential is greater than your doubts, your purpose is stronger than your fears, and your future will always be determined more by the actions you choose today than by the excuses you leave behind. Many people believe that changing their life requires one extraordinary moment, a breakthrough opportunity, a life-changing decision, or a sudden burst of motivation. While those moments can be powerful, they are rarely what create lasting success. Real transformation is built through consistent daily progress. It is the small actions repeated day after day that eventually produce remarkable results. If you want your life to look different a year from now, you do not need to become perfect overnight. You simply need to become slightly better today than you were yesterday. The greatest mistake people make is underestimating the value of small improvements. They focus only on the finish line and ignore the daily steps required to get there. They become discouraged because the results are not immediate, forgetting that every meaningful achievement begins invisibly. A tree spends years developing strong roots before reaching impressive heights. A building requires a solid foundation before the upper floors can be constructed. Your life follows the same principle. The work you do today may not seem dramatic, but it is laying the foundation for opportunities you cannot yet see. Consistency is far more powerful than occasional intensity. Many people work extremely hard for a few days and then lose momentum. They depend on motivation to carry them forward. But motivation is unpredictable. Some mornings you will wake up feeling inspired, while other days you will feel tired, discouraged, or distracted. If your progress depends entirely on how you feel, your results will always be inconsistent. Discipline changes everything because it teaches you to continue moving even when motivation disappears. Every small action becomes a vote for the person you are becoming. Every page you read strengthens your knowledge. Every workout strengthens your body. Every honest conversation strengthens your relationships. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your confidence. These actions may appear insignificant on their own, but together they create a completely different identity. Your future is shaped by these repeated decisions far more than by occasional moments of extraordinary effort. Another important lesson is learning to appreciate slow progress. Modern culture often celebrates instant success, making it easy to believe that meaningful change should happen quickly. Social media frequently highlights finished results while hiding the years of effort that made those results possible. This creates unrealistic expectations. When your own progress feels slower than someone else's highlight reel, discouragement begins to grow. Leaders understand that comparison steals momentum. They stay focused on improving themselves rather than measuring their journey against everyone else's. Small victories deserve recognition because they create momentum. Every time you complete a task you plan to do, you strengthen trust in yourself. Every habit you maintain, every distraction you resist, and every challenge you overcome becomes evidence that you are capable of greater things. Confidence does not appear all at once. It grows through repeated experiences where your actions consistently align with your goals. Progress creates confidence because every small success reminds you that change is possible. Consistency also prepares you for bigger opportunities. Many people hope for extraordinary chances while neglecting ordinary responsibilities. They want greater success without demonstrating reliability in smaller tasks. Life rarely works that way. The habits you develop today determine whether you will be ready when larger opportunities arrive. Every disciplined day quietly prepares you for responsibilities you may not even know are coming. Preparation often happens long before recognition. There will be days when progress feels invisible. You may question whether your efforts are making any difference. Those are the moments when consistency matters most. Results often appear after long periods of unseen work. Just because you cannot immediately measure your growth does not mean growth is not happening. Every disciplined choice strengthens your character, sharpens your skills, and builds resilience beneath the surface. The rewards eventually become visible because consistency always leaves evidence over time. Changing your life is not about making one perfect decision that solves everything. It is about making one good decision after another, day after day, until those decisions become your lifestyle. Every sunrise offers another opportunity to move forward, no matter how small the step may seem. When you commit to consistent daily progress, instead of waiting for dramatic breakthroughs, you discover that extraordinary lives are built through ordinary actions repeated with patience, discipline, and unwavering commitment until the person you once hoped to become gradually becomes the person you choose to be every single day. One of the fastest ways to change your life is to change the environment you live in and the people you spend your time with. Many people believe success depends only on willpower, but the truth is that your surroundings quietly influence your thoughts, habits, decisions, and expectations every single day. Whether you realize it or not, your environment is constantly shaping the person you are becoming. If you continue living in an atmosphere that encourages negativity, distraction, and complacency, personal growth becomes much harder. If you intentionally create an environment that supports learning, discipline, and purpose, success begins to feel more natural. Think about the people you speak with most often. Their attitudes gradually become part of your own thinking. If they constantly complain, make excuses, criticize others, and avoid responsibility, it becomes easy to adopt the same mindset without even noticing it. Negativity spreads quietly because emotions are contagious. On the other hand, spending time with people who value growth, honesty, accountability, and optimism encourages you to raise your own standards. Their habits begin influencing your habits. Their beliefs begin expanding your own possibilities. This does not mean you should judge people or abandon those who are struggling. It simply means you must become intentional about who has the greatest influence over your daily thinking. Every conversation leaves an impression. Every relationship either strengthens your vision or slowly pulls you away from it. Wise people choose relationships that encourage mutual growth rather than constant limitation. They seek friends, mentors, and communities that challenge them to become better instead of making them comfortable with remaining the same. Your physical environment also matters more than most people realize. The spaces where you live and work silently influence your behavior. A cluttered room often creates a cluttered mind. Constant digital distractions make deep focus difficult. Endless noise prevents meaningful reflection. Small changes in your surroundings can produce remarkable improvements in your daily habits. Organizing your workspace, removing unnecessary distractions, keeping books within reach, and creating peaceful places for thinking all make positive choices easier to maintain. Another important lesson is protecting your attention. We live in a world where countless companies compete for every second of your focus. Social media, endless notifications, and constant entertainment make it easy to spend hours consuming information without creating anything meaningful. Leaders understand that attention is one of life's most valuable resources. They choose carefully where they invest it because they know that whatever consistently captures their attention eventually shapes their future. A distracted mind struggles to build a focused life. Mentorship is another powerful way to transform your environment. You do not need to figure everything out alone. Every successful person has learned from others who walked the path before them. Mentors provide perspective, wisdom, and encouragement during moments of uncertainty. They often help you avoid mistakes that could have taken years to discover on your own. Even if you cannot meet mentors personally, books, podcasts, biographies, and educational content allow you to learn from extraordinary minds every day. It is also important to remember that your environment includes the information you consume. Every article you read, every video you watch, every conversation you join, and every thought you repeatedly entertain becomes part of your mental world. If you constantly feed your mind fear, gossip, and negativity, those ideas naturally influence your decisions. If you consistently expose yourself to knowledge, inspiration, wisdom, and meaningful conversations, your thinking gradually becomes stronger. Your mind grows in the direction of what you repeatedly feed it. Sometimes changing your environment requires difficult decisions. It may mean limiting time with people who repeatedly discourage your dreams. It may require leaving situations where your values are constantly compromised. Growth often demands courage because familiar environments feel comfortable even when they are unhealthy. Choosing a better environment is not about becoming better than others. It is about giving yourself the opportunity to become the person you were created to be. The remarkable truth is that lasting transformation rarely happens by accident. It happens when you intentionally surround yourself with people who inspire excellence, places that encourage discipline, and ideas that expand your vision. Every positive influence strengthens your ability to make better choices, while every unhealthy influence quietly competes for your attention. The environment you choose today will shape the habits you build tomorrow. The mindset you carry into every challenge, and ultimately the direction your entire life will follow as you continue becoming stronger, wiser, more disciplined, and more aligned with the future you truly want to create. The difference between people who dream about changing their lives and those who actually do it is often one word: discipline. Motivation is exciting, but it is temporary. It comes and goes depending on your emotions, your circumstances, and even your energy levels. Discipline, however, continues working long after motivation has disappeared. If you truly want to change your life starting today, you must develop the discipline to keep going, especially on the days when you do not feel like taking another step. Your future will never be determined by how motivated you feel. It will be determined by what you choose to do consistently. Many people misunderstand discipline because they see it as punishment or restriction. In reality, discipline is freedom. It gives you control over your decisions instead of allowing your emotions to control them. Without discipline, every distraction becomes powerful, every excuse sounds convincing, and every obstacle feels impossible. With discipline, you learn to make choices based on your values instead of your temporary feelings. That is what creates lasting success. Successful people are not always more talented than everyone else. They are often simply more consistent. One of the biggest obstacles to discipline is waiting until you feel ready. Your mind naturally prefers comfort over challenge. It wants to avoid difficult conversations, postpone important work, and choose immediate pleasure instead of long-term growth. If you always listen to those feelings, your progress will stop whenever discomfort appears. Discipline teaches you to act regardless of your emotional state. Some days you will feel inspired, while other days you will feel tired, discouraged, or uncertain. Your commitment must become stronger than your mood. Discipline is built through small daily decisions. Every time you wake up when your alarm rings instead of pressing snooze, you strengthen discipline. Every time you complete a task before checking your phone, you strengthen discipline. Every workout, every page you read, every healthy meal you choose, and every promise you keep to yourself becomes another brick in the foundation of your character. These actions may seem ordinary, but together they shape the person you become. Another important truth is that discipline grows through repetition, not perfection. Many people quit after making one mistake because they believe failure means they are not disciplined enough. Real discipline is not about never failing. It is about refusing to let one failure become a permanent habit. Everyone misses workouts, loses focus, or has unproductive days. The difference is that disciplined people return to their routine quickly. They do not waste time criticizing themselves. They simply begin again because they understand that consistency matters far more than perfection. Discipline also strengthens confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you prove that your words have value. Over time, you begin trusting yourself more because your actions consistently match your intentions. Self-confidence is not built by telling yourself positive affirmations alone. It is built by creating evidence that you can rely on yourself. When you repeatedly do what you said you would do, your mind begins believing that you are capable of handling greater challenges. It is also helpful to remember your purpose during difficult moments. Discipline becomes much easier when your actions are connected to a meaningful reason. If your goal is only temporary excitement, quitting becomes easy. But when your discipline serves your family, your dreams, your health, your future, or the people you want to inspire, your commitment becomes much stronger. Purpose gives discipline direction. It reminds you why today's sacrifice is worth making. Successful people also understand that discipline is a daily choice rather than a one-time achievement. It is not something you reach and never think about again. Every morning presents new opportunities to choose growth over comfort. Every decision either strengthens or weakens your habits. Discipline is developed one choice at a time until it becomes part of your identity instead of something you force yourself to practice. Changing your life requires far more than moments of inspiration. It requires the quiet determination to continue when nobody is watching, when progress feels slow, and when results are not yet visible. Every disciplined action plants another seed for the future you are creating. With enough consistency, those small choices become powerful habits. Those habits become unshakable character, and that character becomes the foundation upon which every lasting success, meaningful achievement, an extraordinary life is built through unwavering commitment, repeated one day at a time. Every meaningful change begins with one important realization. Your future is not waiting for the person you are today. It is waiting for the person you are willing to become. Many people focus entirely on achieving new goals, earning more money, building successful careers, or reaching higher levels of success. While those goals are valuable, they often overlook the most important question of all. Instead of asking, what do I want to achieve? Ask yourself, who do I need to become? Your results will always reflect your character, your habits, your mindset, and your daily decisions. Lasting success is never built by changing your circumstances alone. It is built by changing yourself first. Every dream requires a different version of you. The person capable of leading a successful business is not the same person who constantly avoids responsibility. The person capable of building healthy relationships is not the one who refuses to communicate honestly. The person capable of achieving financial freedom is not the one who spends without discipline. Every future achievement demands new habits, greater wisdom, stronger character, and higher standards. Before your life changes on the outside, something must change within you. One of the biggest mistakes people make is expecting a new life while maintaining the same identity. They want different results without becoming different people. They continue thinking the same way and reacting the same way and making the same choices while hoping circumstances will somehow improve. Growth does not work that way. Every decision either reinforces your old identity or strengthens the new one you are trying to build. The person you become determines the life you create. Identity is shaped through repeated actions. You do not become disciplined by saying you are disciplined. You become disciplined every time you keep a promise to yourself. You do not become courageous by wishing for confidence. You become courageous each time you act despite fear. You do not become a leader because someone gives you a title. You become a leader through the consistent choices you make when no one is watching. Your identity is not built by your intentions. It is built by your repeated behavior. Another important truth is that growth often requires letting go of old versions of yourself. Sometimes you must leave behind limiting beliefs that have followed you for years. You may need to release old excuses, unhealthy habits, destructive relationships, or fears that no longer serve your future. Holding on to your past identity while trying to create a new future creates constant internal conflict. Real transformation requires the courage to say goodbye to who you used to be so you can fully embrace who you are becoming. Patience is also essential during this process. Becoming the person your future requires does not happen overnight. Every meaningful quality takes time to develop. Confidence grows through repeated action. Wisdom grows through experience. Integrity grows through consistent choices. Emotional strength grows through overcoming challenges. There will be days when your progress feels slow, but slow growth is still growth. Every decision that aligns with your future self is moving you in the right direction, even if the results are not immediately visible. Surrounding yourself with people who reflect the qualities you admire also accelerates your transformation. Spend time with individuals who challenge your thinking, encourage your growth, and demonstrate the values you hope to develop. Learn from mentors, books, experiences, and conversations that stretch your perspective. The people closest to you often influence the person you gradually become, making your relationships one of the most important investments in your future. It is equally important to remember that becoming someone new requires daily commitment rather than occasional inspiration. Every morning presents another opportunity to think differently, speak differently, and act differently. Small decisions repeated consistently reshape your identity far more effectively than one dramatic moment of motivation. Every healthy habit, every courageous action, every honest conversation, and every disciplined choice becomes another step toward the person your future demands. Your future is not created by luck, talent, or perfect circumstances alone. It is created by the person you choose to become every single day. The goals you dream about are simply reflections of the character you are building right now. As you continue raising your standards, strengthening your discipline, expanding your mindset, and living according to your values, you gradually become someone capable of handling opportunities that once seemed impossible, proving that the greatest transformation is never simply changing your life, but becoming the person who can sustain the life you have always imagined.